Hey, everybody, welcome to episode number 49 of the Debt Free Dad podcast. The holiday shopping season is in full swing, whatever that's going to look like this year. And today, we are sharing tips so you don't become holiday hijacked, meaning we want you to stay on track and stay out of debt so that you can have a great start to 2021. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Debt Free Dad podcast, where we're helping normal, everyday people learn how to save money and kick debt so they can live a happier and stress-free life. Now here's your host, Debt Free Dad, Brad Nelson.
Hey, everybody. You can find me on Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, and Instagram. Just search Brad Nelson, Debt Free Dad, and welcome to today's show. You know what, guys? I'm really excited. At one time, we're going to be able to record a podcast and say, you know, maybe this isn't going to be like this right now because of the virus. I'm really looking forward to not having to think about that garbage anymore. But anyways, we are talking about holiday shopping. And as this episode releases, it is the kind of official kickoff of the biggest holiday shopping season this time of year. And Black Friday is upon us. Even though I know Black Friday is going to look a little bit different, the retail stores are doing some things differently this year because of the virus. And so I know things are going to be a little bit different, but it's still to say that more than likely, we still have holiday shopping expenses. People are still going to be spending money. And the point of today's show is to kind of keep you on track through what most people probably feel is one of the more stressful times of the year as it relates to your finances and just the holidays in general. And what would you guys say based on, you know, holiday shopping back in the day versus how it is now? How would you guys compare your stress levels doing it in debt or with debt versus doing it with a plan and with cash? How do you guys feel now?
For us, I feel so much better. But when we were shopping, when we were in debt and doing the holiday thing, we would just kind of let bills slide just so that we could get gifts. And then we'd stress, like we'd be so stressed, like, oh my gosh, that bill's gonna, you know, oh, that's gonna come out of our account. We're not gonna have money, or we're gonna get all these phone calls. Now we plan for it and we don't have any of that. So for us, the feeling is so much lighter.
That's awesome.
My kids probably liked it better when we were in debt. Because I think, you're trying to, you want, you kind of want them to have this cool Christmas and, all this sort of stuff, and I know when we were in debt, we just didn't really, not to say we didn't care. We still had, I guess, a budget in quotation marks. We kind of knew but it was always like, I would say we never really stuck to it. And, now we know, and, our kids are older now and they know this is what we spend. That's it. That's all it is. And yeah, it's just a lot less stressful. When we started doing kind of the sinking funds, the envelope system years ago. And ever since we started doing that, it just made things such a breeze because it was like, we just had the cash, we paid for it. Because realistically, when we were going in debt, it was sometimes, June, July, August before we were paying it off. And then if you're you get a month break and you're right back to charging stuff back up and you got to spend a whole nother year paying it off. It was like, we just never could get caught up on that.
Yeah, there was a statistic I shared back in, it was like early this year, I want to say, that I think on average, there was a study showed that it took, most people admitted that it would take them 4 to 5 months before they paid it off, and some said it would even take longer. Some upwards of 8 or 9 months. So you're looking at like September, and like you said, you're kind of a month or two off, and then you're right back into it. So we don't want that for you. So what we wanted to kind of talk about today are what are some ways that you can help prevent that. And I think one of the things you just got to kind of look out for is this holiday hijack that's out there, because it does happen. And it happens even, I think, to people who are debt free. It's easy to kind of get sucked into the whole season and overspending and spending money that you don't have, or maybe spending without a plan, really. So what are some ways that you can prevent this? And I think one of the things you got to kind of make sure you watch out for is don't fall for, we got to give, friends and family, kids and everybody, this magical Christmas and put yourself into debt. And I think a lot of parents struggle with this. I know a lot of parents struggle with this, just working with Roots members and working with people with their finances over the years. And there is this guilt. Like, I can't afford it, but I also feel like I need to give them this amazing morning or night or day, right? But you got to understand that you are putting yourself into a worse financial position by doing that. It's very much like Amber said. You're only really adding on more stress to the situation when you make those types of decisions.
And this was really hard for us as our kids got older, especially because when they're younger, you could spend $100 on Christmas, and it's you can get quite a bit of stuff for $100 when they're 3 years old.
Yeah,
and quite honestly, they're more happy playing with the box. They don't really care. And it wasn't until they got older where suddenly, you got a 14, 15-year-old and you're like, the budget's, $100. Well, I mean, most 15-year-olds, one item is $100 sometimes, depending on what they're picking. They could want a pair of shoes or maybe they get two things. And I think for us, that's when it really started getting like, man, they're only going to have like one or two gifts under the tree. So I feel bad. We should get them more stuff because that's going to be boring to only open one or two things. So I think for us, as the kids got older, for sure, it made us feel more guilty that we didn't have enough for them because they just want more expensive things as they age.
Yeah. I just got a phone call from my son, Noah, and he's like, Dad, for my parents' gifts this year, he's like, I just got this like catalog from Amazon. And he's like, I circled a bunch of stuff. And he's like, just so you know, it's like thousands of dollars worth of stuff. I'm like, what? I'm like, and where exactly am I getting this money for thousands of dollars worth of stuff? He's like, oh, don't worry. They're just some ideas. They're just some ideas. But seriously, you're right. As they get older, it's like $400 or $500 for just one thing. I'm like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Anyways, back to kind of what Amber said. Now that I'm older, I always kind of find it interesting because, the holiday shopping, or the holiday season is really supposed to be about family. And obviously, if you're a Christian, it's about the birth of Jesus and all this stuff. It's supposed to be like this grateful, joyous day, right? But it's like you said, Amber, you guys are just stressed out about finances. You're stressed out about money. And I think a lot of people put themselves in that situation. I think it kind of takes a lot of, and if not most of the fun out of it. Or at the very least, you might get through Christmas Day and then you're realizing, oh, that statement's coming like early January. And what are we going to do to pay for all that stuff, right?
Oh, heck yeah. Christmas Day was joyous. Everybody was happy. It was fun, but it's the days following the holidays that really hurt.
It's the holiday hangover, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. So understand that, no is a complete sentence. And seriously, that's why I think it's important. We did a whole podcast episode back in July, on helping people get prepped for this because you got to have a plan going into this. Last year, the average person went into debt over $1,000 to afford their Christmas shopping. $1,000. The people that chose to use debt, it was well over $1,000 going into debt to do that. But don't do that. You got to say no. All right. You got to go into this with a plan and understand that, you're going to see these advertisements. You're going to feel this peer pressure to overspend. And in fact, we've shared statistics on this show that show that people feel pressure to overspend on Christmas because of the marketing and advertising and this whole kind of, idea around what the holidays are. So when it comes to family and friends and gift exchanges, this is a big one, guys. And I was kind of shocked about this when I started working with Roots members. But when I would do one-on-one coaching calls with people, it was amazing to me how many people were guilted into doing these exchanges, but they could not afford to do them. And some of them were involved in exchanges that weren't like $10 or $20. And for some people, that's a lot of money. It was like $100. Some of them were like $200. Like you're only buying one gift, but still it's like $200. It's the gift exchange. That's like unbelievable. But yet here they are. They got 7 credit cards. They got car payments that they can barely make. And here they are feeling this pressure that they got to participate in these gift exchanges.
Yeah, this is hard. I mean, I'm not going to make any I think this is really hard when you're getting out of debt. Because in some ways, when you start saying no, people start asking questions. Yeah,
they sure do.
Or they start realizing things aren't all as well as what they think they were. And so I think this was really hard for us. And we lost friends and we lost some people along the way due to this. I mean, this is what you're talking about here. Saying no it's just a very difficult thing to do and thing to struggle with, you know. I mean, I can tell you personally with our family, and you kind of had a point back on the last topic that we had. We don't really remember a lot of the things we got as a kid for Christmas. So don't put all this pressure on stuff, you know. Your kids are not going to, they might care in the short term, but in the long term, it's not that big of a deal. For me, we made it a bigger deal than what it really was. When we scaled things way back, when we were really struggling and had to get out of debt, yeah, they were disappointed, but they're okay. You know, I mean,
they survived.
Right. You know, and now that we've gotten out of debt, we can go back to having a better Christmas than like we used to, you know, but now we don't have all the stress and my wife sitting there practically crying on Christmas Day because we can't afford it, you know. But I guess I don't know how you guys feel, but I just know that this part here, saying no to people and to gift giving and all of that stuff can be very, very difficult.
It can be. I think for me, and I'll be straight up and honest, like, I'm okay hurting people's feelings when it comes to this. Seriously, I got so sick and tired of financial stress that I just was fine with it. Like, it sucked. I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't the easiest thing to do, but at the same time, I had just kind of had enough. And even to this day, like, if there's not something that fits in with our plan, like, I've got no issue. I don't care if their feelings get hurt, like, and I'm not going to do it like to do it on purpose. Like, I'm going to hurt your feelings. No, it's not like that. It's just like, I just have a firm ground. It's like, no, we're not going to do that. You know, there's been people who have asked to borrow money to get themselves out of financial issues, and no, that's not going to happen. Like, we're not going to, I'll help you. I'll show you some kind of ways that we could do this, like, and I'll give you some guidance, but I'm not bailing anybody out. That's not going to happen. But yeah, I think it takes, but I'm built that way. So I think for me, it's a little bit easier when it comes to this.
I've never had a problem saying no. So, but I had a problem scaling down, like for the people that we always bought for or did stuff for the holiday season. I struggled scaling down for those few years that we were working really hard and getting out of debt. But even now that we're out of debt, we kept it scaled down because nobody really noticed. Like, they were still getting gifts. We were still doing fun things. If anything, we were doing more fun things because we just did activities around the holiday time instead of all the presents and the stuff.
And see, maybe I would have been a little bit different, like, for other people. Like, if I'm with my kids, maybe I would have been a little bit harder to say no to. But I was already kind of starting this when Noah was like 2. Like, he didn't know a difference. You know, we started doing some smaller, you know, Christmases and things a long time ago. So, you know, as we got out of debt, you know, obviously he, like Ryan said, you know, we had a little bit more budget. We would buy a few more things. So he kind of got accustomed as he got older to things getting a little bit bigger, not bigger than smaller. So, but I could see that, you know, as a parent, how you could struggle with, you know, at least telling your kids no. And then, you know, your kids have friends and they hear what they got. And then, you know, it's like, oh, then you got to deal with them feeling bad. Like, why didn't I get all that stuff too? So I think, though, it's something like, not only just when it comes to your holiday expenses, though, and your holiday spending, though, no is such an important word. There's so many people that struggle with this, with their kids, with their spouses, with everything when it comes as relates to their money. And if you can get more comfortable and better at saying no, the better you'll be at managing your finances for sure. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about just some proactive tips that you can use right now, even this late kind of into the game and getting ready for the finances, on how to, you know, hopefully lessen the blow and hopefully keep you out of debt for those holiday expenses. Stay tuned. Hey, if you love planners, this is for you. But you know why planners frustrate me, though? Because they only get it half right. Now, sure, they're really fancy at helping you manage your time, which is really important, but where they get it wrong is money. Most planners don't include any financial planning. Things like keeping track of paydays, bills and due dates, spending, yearly expenses, budgets, cash flow planning, debt elimination plans, goal planning. And that's a real pain. Then you've got to go and create your own, and who's got time for all of that? So instead, what happens? Nothing. We ignore our finances even more, and things only get worse. Well, that all ends right now today. I am so excited to announce the release of our brand new, totally awesome Debt Freedom Planner. Now, before you say, Brad, I've already got a planner. Well, this is not your ordinary day planner. This Debt Freedom Planner is a companion tool that works with your day planner to help you save more money, pay off more debt, and melt away financial stress. This is literally the tool that we've all been waiting for that works with your planner to help you take control of your money. So head on over to therealdebtfreedad.com. Click on the Debt Freedom Planner in the menu to get all the details to order your very own Debt Freedom Planner today. Hey guys, we are back. We're talking about how to not get holiday hijacked this holiday season, keep you out of debt. And we've got about 4 tips we want to share, things that you can do right now if you have not started shopping, if you want to prevent going into debt. These are some things that'll help you. Number 1 is just make a list and make a plan. Like Ryan had said, those guys started using envelopes and sinking funds. We have the same thing. Like every month, we just set an amount. Every month, this is what we're going to set aside because we already have a Christmas budget in mind a year in advance. We roughly have the same Christmas budget every year. So by having a plan early, we just set that money aside, so the money's there, and it's easy. It makes it so much less stressed. So what do you do now, though? Well, you can still make a plan, and you're going to have to look at the cash that you have available, things that you can do, what resources do you have to be able to pay cash for most of the things that you want to have that are going to be a part of your holiday season. So whether that's gift giving, decorations, food, whatever it might be, just set an amount, something that you're comfortable with.
Yeah, it's just like Santa Claus. Make a list, check it twice, plan for it. But no, seriously. I mean, and like Brad said, if you don't have that sinking fund already set up, and you could get creative too with if your money doesn't allow you to get the gifts for the people that you wanted to get them for, or the decorations of the food. You can get creative with that kind of stuff, whether it's, we've done gift exchanges with a re-gift exchange and just got creative with our family, and they loved it. They thought it was the funnest thing ever. So you could also find ways to get around that if you haven't planned yet.
Right. And there's another tip. A lot of other people are struggling just like you are probably. And we mentioned those statistics. So maybe just talk to them and say, you know what, we're maybe not going to do as many gifts this year. And maybe not work for everybody, but for some, you might be able to get away with that. In fact, we've talked about statistics here that some people would much rather spend more time together than have to worry about gift giving, which I find fascinating. The next tip is to pay cash and just swear off debt for the holidays. I think this is a hard one, though. And again, I think this goes with the guilt of some of the stuff that we talked about, being able to say no. But I think just swearing off debt, just saying to yourself, we're not going to use debt to do this. And we're going to just use, like Amber said, all of the other resources that we have, we're going to put them together. And that's what we're going to use to get through the holidays this year. We're not going to make our situation worse. And you just have to draw that line. And then number 3 is to really think about and review your goals. So this kind of goes back to those small and short-term, or those small and long-term goals that we talk a lot about on this show is, having those goals in mind is going to prevent you from making emotional decisions during the holidays. I think if you're focusing, like say for instance, your goal is to build that first emergency fund, or you're going to pay down the next credit card very soon. And if you put yourself further into debt, you're only prolonging that goal from actually happening, from being able to achieve that. So make sure you put your blinders on, make sure you focus on your goals, pay attention to those. And, the holidays are almost secondary in a way. And, your finances are literally that important. And in the future, holidays will get better. And right now, it's just going to be a little bit different as you're working your way out of debt. There's nothing wrong with that. Saying no and sticking to the plan is okay. You are doing yourself a huge favor by doing that.
I think for me here, for reviewing your goals, this is what helped us say no. I think if you really know what you're trying to accomplish, because to me, we weren't saying no forever. We weren't saying no, we're never going to do this again. We were saying no, not right now, because we are trying to do here. And when we get here, then we can even potentially do better than what we can do right now. So I think that's the important thing, is to really get clear on what are you really trying to accomplish. Because if you get clear on that and get behind that, then like you said, I think once we got really, really clear, then I didn't want to hurt people's feelings, but I didn't care if they were, because we had a goal. We were trying to get someplace, trying to accomplish something. And I think if you don't have that, then it's easy to get guilted into buying extra and all those things. So I think the goals for me are super important to really get clear with yourself. If you're married, your partner, whoever it is, you really need to get together on that. What are you trying to do?
Yep, totally agree. And then the last one we're going to talk about is just have a plan and be mindful of your time. So we talked about having a plan for your money, but I also think you should have a plan for your time, especially during this time of season, because here's what I've come to know about myself. When I get bored, I do stupid stuff with money. I do. When I get bored, if I don't have my mind occupied on things and projects and focused on what we're working on, like if I let myself get bored, I go buy stuff I don't need. I do it all the time. It never fails. You guys, if you guys have been listening to the show, you heard the drone story, right? I mean, that's a perfect example of some of those stupid purchases I've made in the past, and those are still around today. So understand that browsing turns into buying, right?
Oh, if you leave it in your cart, they're going to email you anyway and tell you left it there. It's like, what?
Yep.
I left it there because I decided I was going to get myself into trouble.
Cart abandonment emails, they work. They really do. They work. So just have a plan for your time. And again, if you are bored, don't shop. Like, I think that's one of the biggest things that people have issues with. When they're bored, they just browse. And again, browsing turns into buying. I can't tell you how many people who are at Amazon Prime Day and they just said, I just went to look. Well, why tempt yourself, right? Like, why even put yourself in that situation? Just stay away from it. Like, the marketing is so strong right now. The advertisements, the enticement is going to be so strong during this period of time. So just make sure, again, you stay focused on those goals and you pay attention to how you're spending your time. If you're constantly looking at the ads, you're constantly online looking at stuff, it's like you're likely going to spend more money. So just be mindful of how you're spending that time.
Well, and Amber, you kind of mentioned with the emails. I mean, it's also, I mean, the way all these things work now. I mean, it's not just emails. I look at trucks, guess what? It's going to be on my Facebook. It's going to be on my Instagram. It's going to show up everywhere. So if you go look at TVs on Amazon, it's going to start, oh, hey, I seen you're looking at TVs here. Why don't you look at a TV over here and over here and over here? You know, I mean, it's not just email anymore. I mean, they've just gotten so good at convincing you to buy it at every turn.
Yep, no question. The Facebook Pixel and, all those cookies, the tracking cookies and stuff that they use nowadays, it's fascinating and scary at the same time. So, again, have a plan, stick to the plan, review those goals, and just make a commitment to stay out of debt this holiday season. And you can do it. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, but you can totally do it.
Hey, what's this I see? I thought this was a party! Let's dance!
All right, that sound means it's time for the celebrations of the show. And today we're kicking it off with Kelsey Wormsbecker. She says, one payment left for a collections account after this recent payment goes through. Then I'll really start saving up. And Kelsey's been working hard at getting caught back up. That is amazing. Great job.
Jessica Rose, I've been paying an extra $100 on my car payment for the last 6 months, and I'm on track to have my car paid off in 6 months.
That is awesome. Congratulations.
Julie Ends, I'm celebrating that I actually printed my last 6 months bank statements. I sat down with highlighters and figured out where I'm spending my money to the penny. And this one is awesome. I mean, because if anybody's looking for a place to start, if you're looking to start getting out of debt, I know when I did this, when we first started, it was like eye-opening. So awesome job.
Yep. It's a huge project. Well, I wouldn't say huge project, but it takes time. This is probably where the bulk of your time will be spent putting your budget together, but it's huge. I love that. Jasmine Ziggity Zachary ordered my planner today. I can't wait to get it. I also rejoined Roots as well. She says, let's get back to business and get some more debt paid off. It was awesome to welcome her back into the program. That's awesome. Way to go, Jasmine.
Are you ready for this one?
I'm ready. I've been waiting. We've been waiting for this one.
Chandra Harper, house is 100% paid off.
Yeah, that is so awesome. Yeah, she's been sharing those celebrations now since like summer. And everyone, it was just inching her way closer, and she did it. It's awesome. So awesome. I chatted with her a little bit. She's like, there's no feeling like it. She's like, it's amazing. So huge congratulations to Chandra. She worked so hard on that goal. And I remember meeting with her a couple of years ago on that. And she said, I just really want to get this thing paid off. And she made a goal to make it happen. And here we are. So like we just talked about those goals today. That's a big one. Great job. And then lastly, Judy Jennings McCord, I got my budget planned today. Huge congratulations to you, Judy, and congratulations to all of you who are working so hard. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us here today. We love your feedback, and it also helps us grow our show. So please give us a like or leave us some honest feedback. And if you want to get the latest from the show, be sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe to our channel. And if you heard that commercial for my brand new Debt Freedom Planner during the show, head over to therealdebtfreedad.com. Click on the planner in the menu on top and order yours today. We'll see you on an upcoming episode of the show. Take care.